turned off very quickly. So any sense of unfairness in the environment is very corrosive, very corrosive. So entrepreneurs have to have this sense of where rewards have to be commensurate with the contribution, the level of capabilities that you have. They don't have to be equal. They don't have to be equal, but they have to be seen in open and fair fashion that this person is fair, he recognizes the performance, he rewards the performance. And also, you have to learn to manage yourself. You have to learn to manage yourself before you can learn to manage anybody around you. You cannot demand performance from others unless you demand performance for yourself. You cannot ask people to work 20 hours a day unless you are willing to put 20 hours a day yourself. So you have to learn to manage, and that means a discipline, that you have to have a super discipline as an individual before you start to, say, anything around you, you have to learn to manage, but, the number one thing you have to learn to manage yourself. So some of these traits, I have several of those traits that I have, distilled over the years as requirement, for succeeding. But one trait that always works and always beats me is the luck, So you always have, luck, that works favors strangers of the people. So you cannot ever fight that one. If Lady Luck decides to smile at you, you are in the money. And she decides to spit in your face, your history. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your most enlightening session on entrepreneurship. I request Mr. Ravi Narayanan to give the memento. Thank you, sir. I request Ms. Purnima Shenoy, President of the India Semiconductor Association, to kindly introduce our next speaker, Dr. Sridhar Mitta.
It's indeed a privilege and an honor to give Dr. Mitta's introduction here today. I must thank Professor Sarakopan for giving me this opportunity. But the tough part is when you have a time limit of 1 or 2 minutes to introduce Dr. Mitta, and if you want to get and speak about Dr. Mitta, it's going to take far longer. So you have to forgive me. I'm going to give you a very condensed version, which I think I'm not really doing justice to him. We all know that Dr. Mitta was recently felicitated by his alma mater, the Oklahoma State University, from where he did his MS and his PhD. He is the first person outside the US to be inducted into the CET Hall of Fame. Earlier to that, he had done his MTech from IIT Kharagpur and his BE from Andhra University. Dr. Mitta is a fellow of the Indian National Academy of Engineering. Dr. Mitta came back to India and started his career at ECIL, and over the next 35 years, he has been among the founding teams of Wipro, Nthink, and E4E. Just earlier this year, he has launched NextWealth, a venture fund that focuses on social entrepreneurship. Dr. Mitta has been actively involved in mentoring entrepreneurs at TIE and outside it. He's on the board of several companies, and when ISA was started in 2004, he was our first mentor who gave us direction and put us on the track to grow. But what I am telling you is general knowledge. You could read it from anywhere, you would have heard about it. Over the decade that I have known Dr. Mitta, I've seen him as a wonderful, sharing human being who never hesitates to give a very frank and honest feedback, and who's also as brilliant financially as he is technically. We know that Wipro is the IT giant with a global presence. Dr. Mitta has been the first employee at Wipro Infotech and has gone on to hold several important roles there, including that of CTO. In fact, under his leadership, Wipro became the first company in the country to design hardware and start to license software. I wanted to pick up one particular instance which I thought would be very interesting to people from the hardware sector, especially from those from semiconductors. In the mid-1980s, when Dr. Mitta decided to embark on his plan to get into hardware design, he needed a princely budget of 2 crores of rupees. This was when Wipro's total budget itself was 4 crores. So he needed 1 crore for EDA tools, the other crore for workstations. This was a new concept, no idea when they would get returns and what these returns were likely to be. But he was determined to move forward. So you had a very entrepreneurial spirit and he took a very ingenious route out there. Wipro was a Sun partner, so he went to them and he negotiated very hard. And all of us who have worked with Dr. Mitta knows he negotiates really hard. So he got them to give a discount, and and he got 50 lakhs to be the cost that they would be charging for the workstations. Then Dr. Mitta went to all the departments in Wipro, took the unutilized budgets, and he got his 50 lakhs there. Now it came the interesting part of EDA tools. He got into a barter with VLSI Technology, which was doing work with Argus in Bangalore. He said Wipro would provide the 3 best technology brains for them to do their projects, and these people would get trained for free at VLSI Technology. The projects got trained within time, and these talented engineers, who today are CEOs and CTOs in leading companies, went and got trained, and they went on to train others within Wipro. By the 1990s, all hardware designers within Wipro became VLSI designers. Today, Wipro has the largest set of VLSI designers in the world outside any semiconductor company. And for that, we must thank you, Dr. Mitta. I don't think I need to speak of anything else. I think this story itself is enough. It's an honor. Please come here, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Purnima, for that nice introduction. Good morning once again. I always feel good to return to IIIT Bangalore and meet with Professor Sadagopan, faculty members and students in such a serene atmosphere of this great institution. Today I have many more reasons to be more happy because I am midst of several luminaries or gurus like Professor Tom Kailath, whom I know for the last 20 years. When I first met him at Stanford University through Professor Paul Raj, Professor Mahabala, Kanwal Rekhi, and members of several professional bodies from IEEE Computer Society, Indian Semiconductor Association, NASCOM, and TIE. No doubt, I feel greatly honored for being the first person living outside US to be inducted into the Hall of Fame of College of Engineering, Architecture, and Technology at Oklahoma State University. I am humbled by the fact that the institution where I was a mere student has now bestowed the singular honor on me. Basically, let me share a few important moments that have had profound influence on my life. Though I did not pursue a radical course in my life, I always took a path different from a traditional one. When I was 9 years old, I had a dream that the world can be changed through electronics, though I did not know what electronics was very much. But the germ of an idea that helped me to do what I did throughout my professional career was just started around that period. I was inspired by a magazine called Electronic Age, which was published by Radio Corporation of America. As most of you know, RCA was the leading electronic manufacturer in the world at that time. They not only made electronic components, televisions, records, and other things, but they also published this magazine, which my brother used to subscribe, and I used to read as a young man. And the tagline of the magazine was "Better Things for Better Life Through Electronics." So that left a marking impact on me. So at that time, few people in India know what electronics was. So that was the state in which I started